It is a legislation that is aimed at dealing with this dreaded issue of inequality in our society, in the economy, inequality in terms of ownership, inequality in terms of management, access to opportunities, and so on and so forth. For it to work, very important is that all the stakeholders, government, those who are supposed to empower, and those who are supposed to be empowered must be aligned in support of the objectives of triple BEE. If the intention is to make the system unworkable, the system will be unworkable. So there's got to be a great deal of mental and attitude change among South African people, especially business people, for triple BEE to work. Unfortunately, historically, triple BEE has tended to focus on equity type transactions. They are fancy, they make headlines. So and so has acquired 10% of a bank. The transaction is worth 4 billion. It's nice to read, but beyond that, it's not permitted to support for new players in the economy. With the changes, the intention is to ensure that there are sustainable enterprises and the cult of entrepreneurship becomes entrenched, and that organizations who are emerging and aspiring to grow can become part of the supply chains of large corporations. This symbiotic relationship between big business and SMMEs is what will get this country going. Because at the end of the day, the SMME sector, the emerging businesses, are the engines for sustainable and quality employment in the economy, as well as sustainable economic growth, and therefore they need to be supported. And triple BE is one small but very important endeavor in that direction. The very reason why the African National Congress would have been formed in 1912 was to deal with this issue of ownership. It may have been ownership of the land, it may have been ownership of the economy, but it was largely about ownership and the involvement of black people in becoming masters of their own destiny. Ownership is at the center of the empowerment effort in this country, and it will remain so for a very long time. In actual fact, the absence of visible ownership becomes an emotive issue. It's not so much the absence of participation in the value chains of organizations that creates emotional outbursts. That said, it's very important that we appreciate that there are other pieces of legislation which reinforce this transformation agenda. There is employment equity, which is not just about reporting, but it also is aimed at ensuring that there's a migration of people from the lowest rungs of businesses to the higher and upper echelons of the management of those businesses. So the emphasis on middle management is to be found there. And I don't believe as well that even in the scorecards that there's not sufficient emphasis being placed on middle management. Yes, people are interested in how many CEOs of listed companies are there who are black and women, how many CFOs, how many black people are on the boards of directors of large corporations. And you can understand why, because they read in the annual reports and those stats are visible, and they're easy low-hanging fruits to see how the economy transformation is going on. One calls it optics of transformation, but that's what really matters, and that's what talks to the people's hearts. Fronting is specifically criminalized. Especially businesses must appreciate that for this democracy to work, they've got to play their part. They've got to genuinely assist in transformation of the economy at all levels: ownership, management, bringing people into the value chain and supply chains of their organizations. One of the efforts of this scorecard, it creates disqualifiers. If you don't fulfill certain objectives, you move a step down in terms of levels of BE rating. And I think that creates further incentive for people to do the right thing.